Okay, hello, this is Luigi Coppola, typing and speaking and recording all at the same time, hopefully. So this is actually a test run, I've not done this before. What I'm hoping to do is show you the writing process for my Rattle monthly Ekphrastic, let's see if I spelled that correctly, challenge. So this is for April 2023. Now it's the 4th of April because I wasn't able to reach my computer in time for the beginning of the month, but what I'm hoping to do is log into this Word document here, this side, that side. I've got a video here. I'm going to speak and type. I'm going to open up the browser, which I use Chrome for, and look at the Ekphrastic image for the first time. So the Rattle Ekphrastic I've been doing on and off for years now. I try to enter every month, and I find it incredibly useful because minimum I write 12 poems a year. It forces me to write and to really consider how I write and the processes and what I produce and the drafting process. It gives me a set time limit. You've got 1 month to write and perfect. I might combine that with video and music and animation of some kind, but the core of it is the writing process. So it's been fantastic just having that. I want to thank Tim Green, the editor of Rattle, for that. So it's been incredibly useful for me. So I thought this month, April 2023, I'd record a video of the initial processes all the way through to the redrafting, the editing, and then the actual sending off in a month's time. So what I'm planning on doing, and of course, like all great plans of mice and men, often go awry. I'll try to record every time I redraft the poem. So I'll try to show the entire process of it, so that I end up with a 30-day-ish poem, and sending that off and seeing what the process is like and redrafting. I've got in the habit with Rattle Ekphrastic Challenge of drafting the poem, but then on maybe like the first or second day that I see the image, and then leaving it and then coming back hopefully every day and rereading it and redrafting and retrying and changing it until I'm relatively happy. As one writer once said, a poem is never finished, only abandoned. So I have to abandon the poem after the month is gone. Anyway, let's see how it goes. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a look at the Ekphrastic Challenge at Rattle, April 2023. I've opened up the page here, and let's scroll down and have a look at it. Oh, the colour straight away. So this is by Lou Story. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Thanks, Lou. This is fascinating to look at. Lots going on. It's almost overwhelming, in fact, the detail. My initial responses, I'm getting a sort of Noah in the Ark sort of vibe to it, but also like a landscape, like a city scene. These looks like graveyards here, but like a field, nighttime scenes, like snippets. It's almost like an aerial view. It reminds me of various things. Trying to articulate them, being put on the spot with the video as well. I mean, the colours straight away, but also the detail. The angles are quite interesting as well. Like some of it seems on a landscape at different angles and different lines. Yeah, that's cool. So this is my normal process. So I'd look at the image, I'd copy it, and I'd go to my Word document or whatever I'm using at the time, and I'd usually paste in the image. So that way I've always got a copy of it. I usually just put it in the corner. I might look at it in more detail as well. And so what I like to try to do is have like a stream of consciousness, I suppose, type of thing, where I would just write lots of different things first off. So colours, definitely, busy, landscape, different angles. Yeah, I suppose in this process you're going to see how bad my spelling is, and I'll have to keep going backwards and forwards, retyping, I suppose. So the feeling I get is like maybe a traveller. I'm thinking of like a flaneur, which I'm pretty sure is spelled like that, but I'm not sure. I think it's French for wanderer, like William Blake back in the day, just wandering around and observing. So I can imagine being a flaneur in this painting. Who is it by? Lou Story. Is that correct spelling? Let's have another look. Yes, it is. Okay. So I can sort of imagine myself being this flaneur here as well. Quite like having that as no spacing, so there's a bit more space to write. So graveyards I saw. I like to do this with the Ekphrastic image as well. Just make an observation of what I see and what's there, and even if it's just a list of things, then I can just pick and choose stuff. So crosses, plotted land. I'm thinking of that poem, landscape plotted, pieced and ploughed. Oh, I forgot who it was by. Glory be to God for the dappled things. Who is that by? I should know that. Anyway. Gerald Manley Hopkins. That's it. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. That's quite an interesting idea. In terms of the art, so let's put Gerald down. Gerald. I don't think you spell his name with a semicolon, but you never know. Gerald Manley Hopkins. Maybe I've spelled that wrong completely, I don't know. Glory be to God. Amazing poem. So we've got a bit of sky, haven't we? Blue sky. So I'm thinking juxtapositions. Juxtapositions of colours and ideas. Sort of houses. Day and night as well. It just goes through. But also seasons. There's lots of change in the image. Seasons gone through. There's that wind in the corner here, which is quite interesting for me anyway. I like those. It's almost like the curvature of the earth, isn't it? Which also makes me think of like Dante's Inferno, those medieval images of the Inferno, of like the structure of hell and the universe and whatever, and so on. Like rows of houses. There's also uniformity to them as well. Uniformity. Almost as if, I don't know, there's a battle between rural and urban, the urbanisation of landscape. That's interesting. What else? Is that an airport? And ironically I can hear a plane going by as well, or an airport pot apparently. Yeah, it's interesting. You definitely got me intrigued, Lou. Trees and the landscape. Trees across the horizon. But also, did I write about angles? I did, didn't I? Yeah, different angles. I'm definitely getting a flaneur traveller sort of idea for that, aren't I? So I can imagine maybe a narrative poem. I'm thinking of like John Clare, like a pastoral poet, and wandering, as I mentioned before, like William Blake, wandering around London. Romantic poets are massive for that, aren't they? Wordsworth as well. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so what I normally do is once I've made a few notes, I might have a go at just writing something. Now, again, that might be a stream of consciousness. It might be me trying to form it as a poem straight away. Depends on what I feel like. Sometimes I might go for like a sonnet form and try to write it in iambic pentameter straight away. Thinking of I wander lonely as a cloud. That sort of thing, starting in first person. I wandered across the hills. I wandered over hills. This is how I sometimes edit as well. So I might strike through a word or use a dash, a slash to show alternate words. So maybe I'm forcing it into iambic pentameter. I wandered over hills. And saw the sights. It's a little bit abstract, but it will do for now, I suppose. I'd rather it sort of put it in concrete ideas. So I was going to say graveyards, for example, and in fact that might be the first thing. It's a bit morbid to begin with, isn't it? I wandered over hills and saw the sights. The wind that blew in gusts of blue. Nice little wordplay there. The wind that blew in gusts of blue. The houses torn from red to brown. The idea of maybe the bricks aging. Here I like that bit here, where the houses seem sort of worn down. The houses torn from red to brown. The fields of poppies. It's a bit of a cliche, but it'll do for now. Here maybe. It's almost like a racetrack. I might add that idea down, racetrack. Fields of poppies. I'll move this down so we can always see the image while I'm writing. Fields of poppies. Poppies. Beaches. Beaches filled. Try to keep everything so I don't lose. Filled with chairs. That bit here is quite interesting. Maybe it's come some sort of title. I am the flaneur. I always quite like using interesting vocabulary in titles. I don't know why I underlined that. I don't normally underline titles. I'm supposed to make it stand out. Why is Word telling me that's a problem? It's not a problem. Ignore once, yes. Poetic titles can have capital letters. What else we got? I haven't had the churches yet. Churches, spying at the world. Break. Just my eye fell on this section here. That almost like a seam. A break, a seam, parted, a zip, unzipped. It's quite an interesting image right in the middle of that as well. Let's put it back in first person as well. I slip between the gaps, 1 foot in the field. I wouldn't want that repetition there because I've mentioned fields before. So in redrafting process, my eye would try to focus on what's being repeated because you never want to do that in a poem, do you? 1 foot in the field. One on the train tracks to take me away. That kind of feels like an end. So what I sometimes do is use pointed brackets where I want to, like a sort of a note or comment. I suppose with Word you could use a comment or reference, but I just like to have it as a text form. So when I use pointed brackets, it's a comment to myself to remind me, oh, I wrote that then, but that might work later on in the poem. Smoke, just looking at this section here, from burning trees, or burgeoning, whatever that is, burning trees, and corpses. That's a little bit macabre for this poem, I think. Corpses laying down to rest. I see the yellow sunset. I mean, that sounds overkill there. Looking at this section. Behind the spewing factories. It's really bringing in Blake's here, Jerusalem, isn't it? The smoke and factories. And in those feet in ancient times. And did those feet in ancient times walk upon England's mountains green? And was the holy Lamb of God on England's pleasant pastures seen? And did the countenance divine shine forth upon the clouded fields? And was Jerusalem builded here among these dark satanic mills? I had to go through the whole poem there. Satanic mills. Bring me my bow of burning gold. Might as well finish it now. Bring me my arrows of desire. Bring me my spear, oh clouds unfold. Bring me my chariot of fire. I shall not cease from mental fight, nor shall my sword sleep in my hand, till we have built Jerusalem in England's green and pleasant land. That's that satanic mills taking over the meadows. So then we got the alliteration with the mills as well. Sure, why not? Transparent angels. Transparent. Come on, transparent angels. Looking at this bit here, these sort of well, from a modern interpretation, they look like sort of Google Maps arrow when you look it up, but they're kind of like bluish angels floating overhead, sighing at the loss. Oh, have them crying and dropping their tears. That would be very cliche, but anyway. Okay, what else have I got? I mean, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So eke it out to at least sonnet length, I suppose. Day turns to night, cliche, but what can you do? Grass to points of stars. Cover my eyes so I can go back home. It's interesting, a little twee maybe, but it's a start, I suppose. Right, ladies and gentlemen, look, this is a load of rubbish, of course. I have a title, I Am the Flaneur, and I have a 14-line-ish, so very loose sonnet. But there you go. Right, this is what I would do next. I would paste that, probably with the image as well, copy it, and I'd start a new page. Paste that. So what I've got on page 1 is the original notes and draft and whatever ideas. And then every time I'd start a clear new version, I'd put it into a new page, probably cut and paste the image so I've got that as a reference, and then I can redraft it. That way I've always got the original notes, the original draft, and I can just work on it as needs be. Okay, so I am going to call it quits. One, because I'm a little bit worried that I've hit record and it's not recording. I've just been talking for 20 minutes and it's not done anything. But what I'll do is I'll come back to that at some point. I'll probably just fix this in terms of like of like the bits that I want to get rid of. Features filled. I kind of like that end now, so I sort of changed my mind, didn't I? Spine at the world. Right, so in theory, I mean, it's obviously a load of rubbish, but it's a start, isn't it? Like Michelangelo said, you know, you have the block of marble and you find the art that's in it. I know, I've gathered the marble, I've gathered the clay, I've got a lump of stuff, and it'll be up to me to sort of fix it there. Now, I might not come back to this for a day or two. I might come back to it in half an hour. I don't know. It depends what I feel like, I suppose, if I've got time. But I think I'll stop it there, because then that's a very rough first draft and initial ideas. And hopefully I'll see you soon. For you, it will be 0 amount of time, I suppose, because I'm just going to carry on the video straight afterwards, but we'll take it from there. So this has been Luigi Coppola. This is the 4th of April 2023. Writing an Ekphrastic challenge poem based on Lou Story's image from Rattle's Ekphrastic challenge for that month. I'll see you in a bit, I suppose.